A little more than 40 years ago, Marvel Comics introduced the world to a character whose superhuman strength was fueled by nothing more than a very basic, very human condition: anger.
Granted, an accidental and massive dose of gamma radiation didn't help any, but ultimately it was his extreme rage that turned him from a mild-mannered scientist into a mean, green, fighting machine.
Unstoppable and capable of wreaking incredible havoc on anyone or anything that lay in his path. We are, of course, talking about the Hulk. And who better to bring him to the big screen than director Ang Lee?
I'm going to take you where the action is, explore the Hulk experience as it happens on the set, and also check out his earliest days as a comic book icon.
And I'm up here at ILM, the premier effects house, where an amazing group of designers are doing their part to create the living, breathing beast that up to now existed only in Ang's mind. And here's the lowdown.
These are the stages at Universal Studios where we shot some of the scenes from the Hulk. And in a few of them, my character comes face to face with the Green Goliath. And believe me when I tell you, this movie gives new meanings to the words, "You wouldn't like me when I'm angry."
I very much like to think the Hulk as the unknown, the real you, that we have to cover it with our own character.
If you've ever had any experience with a 2-year-old who has not gotten what he or she wants at the supermarket, you've had experience with the Hulk.
It's so easy to empathize. It's so easy to imagine you could be that guy. We all know that feeling of rage. If only I could do something about it.
Speed. Marker.
Action.
Ready when you are.
Well, let's hit it.
Safety's all going green. Countdown started.
Enemies fully dispersed.
Okay. Let's hit Freddy with the gamma radiation.
Bruce Banner is a PhD scientist at the cutting edge of new science of nanotechnology.
Gamma exposure.
He's had failure after failure, and it's very frustrating for him. He's a character who doesn't feel comfortable expressing his frustration and his rage, and he holds it in.
Betty, what's happening to me?
I don't know.
Betty Ross is infatuated, I think, with the notion of trying to solve all the mysteries in Bruce's head.
I mean, your birth parents. I don't understand why you don't want to find out about them. You sense that there's something kind of vulnerable about her, something missing, something slightly broken about her. And then she has this kind of complicated relationship with Bruce, her partner.
Why do you always come back to this?
Don't know. Guess I figure there's more to you than you like to show. Guess there couldn't be any less.
Sound speed.
Sound speed.
Hey, Mark.
Action. I think the circuit's kind of fried. I don't know. Maybe you want to come take a look at it.
Okay, I'll be right there.
As in the original comic books, there's going to be an accident. Bruce is going to selflessly attempt to save somebody else.
Bruce, I can't stop it! Get out! He inhales the nanomeds and is then exposed to gamma radiation. You should be dead.
They worked.
Bruce, they've killed everything else that they've come into contact with.
The doctor gave me the full workup. He wants to know where he can get what I'm taking. I'm 100%.
The reason he didn't die is because he had inhaled the nanomeds and he had a mutant gene that his father had been working on himself, that he had passed on to his son.
Your name is not Krensler. It's Banner. Bruce Banner.
Nick Nolte, who portrays David Banner, presents something of at first a mystery, and then a serious problem.
When Anne came out to the house, and we sat down to talk, he said, I don't know how to make a comic book, but I can make a Greek tragedy. It meant we could explore the darkness of relationship father-son, the severance of it, the integration of the shadow side of our personality. I didn't come here to see you. I came here to see my son. My real son. The one inside of you.
Nick Nolte is a bless. I've never seen anybody work so hard for a character. I've never seen anybody work with his kind of concentration. And he can make any line work. And he's just purely brilliant.
Everything your extraordinary mind has been seeking all these years. It's been inside you. Now we will understand it. We will harness it.
The father is the gatekeeper of all the information and all the past and all the things that are troubling Bruce so much.
So he's set on a journey of both self-discovery as well as a struggle to control what it is that he's discovering. Because the more he knows, the more out of control that which he knows becomes.
One of the key attractions to me right from the get-go is the idea that he becomes the Hulk reluctantly.
I always thought it's a good thing to use rage as a catalyst to unleash what's inside there. And in doing so, I think we open up to a whole lot of possibility instead of just smashing things. It's an unleash of true emotion.
I need everything we have in order to stop his movement. So this is the young Bruce Banner. I think you left something in your lab last night. Ross, on one hand, is a very successful military man, but on the other side, has, failed on a lot of levels as a father. Look, I'm gonna get right to it.
It's about Glenn, isn't it? He's been snooping around my lab.
I noticed some things. Asked me to make some inquiries.
Are you here to question me?
And of course, his daughter doesn't want any part of him being involved, and there you go. Drama.
Betty! Talbot is the kind of quintessential arch enemy, the arch rival. And he poses a threat to my work and to my lab and to everything that I stand for.
Let me give you a little heads up. The work you're doing here is dynamite. Think. GIs embedded with technology that makes them instantly repairable on the battlefield. In our sole possession. That's a hell of a business.
He's incredibly driven, extremely ambitious, powerful, self-righteous, very military trained, who thinks that he is exalted, and that he has a right to be doing what he's doing. And I think that's oftentimes the case of bad guys, their belief in what they're doing as opposed to their belief in being bad.
What makes you think you can go behind my back and get Ross to cut me out, huh?
The key driver is anger, fear, rage.
Talbot.
Yeah,
You're making me angry.
oh, am I?
He's turning into this out of control, large green monster with very little control over it himself.
So once the Hulk emerges, Bruce has to begin to deal with that mystery of who he is, where he comes from. At that point, things just take off. and you're off to the races.
I call it my new green destiny. It's the pursuing of that alter ego, that real you that's hiding in the dark, the fate, the mystery.
I will isolate it and treat myself, and I'll kill it before it does any real harm.
But would you really destroy part of yourself? I don't think so.
My character, Major Glenn Talbot, really throws down with the Hulk. And as you can imagine, ends up a little worse for the wear. But when I'm getting pummeled, I'm not really up against a 15-foot giant. I'm up against this. Hulk on a stick. This terrifying head-stick combo is what we all had to work with when we were doing scenes with the Hulk.
7 Frank, take 1 A camera, sun speed.
And action!
The logistics of shooting a shot where I'm standing outside and this is the first time I see the Hulk. And he comes out and he's standing before me and then he kind of leans down. We have to establish the eye lines, and of course he's all going to be digital, so there's nothing there. And to establish the eye lines, they have this like cardboard cutout of a Hulk head with just like really crude drawing of 2 eyes and mouth kind of going like this. And some guy stands around with this head on a stick, you know, and says, okay, well at this point it's that high and then it's here, and they bend it. So they do that, and it's for me to kind of get a reference of where it's going to be. And then I don't even have that, then they take that away when we shoot.
The Hulk picks her up and he puts her on the roof of the car. And that had to be really fine integration between us and CG Hulk. We had her flying from an overhead rig, and then I had lines in my hands and my fingers, just like you would with a marionette. And I was actually controlling her rotation and her bounce.
In real life, what's happening is I'm sitting there doing sort of mime 101, you know, going like, Hulk's picking me up now, and, you know, it's pretty funny.
To me, it's like the purest form of acting. It's the purest form of imagination. It's the purest form of a place to come and say, I am working with absolutely nothing. You have to imagine and sit there and go, okay, now he's 9 feet, now he's 12 feet, now he's 15 feet. It's very difficult technically because you're having to imagine where those pieces are and imagine what you would really be, how you would really be reacting.
It was quite literally like working on 2 different films at once, which made it very interesting and exciting. Because you'd come to work and one day you'd be doing this huge dramatic scene in which you felt like you were in a, you know, the most dramatic film you could be in, and then you'd disappear for 2 days and you'd come back and go, what is going on here? What happened to the film? What happened to this dark little drama I was working on? They're ripping down walls and there's some guy walking around with a stick with a head on top of it and running down the corridor. So it was fascinating.
There was a lot of destruction and a lot of physical effects on the set. You know, it was very difficult work. I mean, that lab sequence was really difficult.
Action! Bang!
Those are real walls that are coming down and real windows that are being broken, real lab equipment that's being destroyed, and there's nothing phony about it.
I think, you know, with the wind and the delay of debris kind of in the air, if you go too much faster, you're going to start missing some of it. Whatever the Hulk comes in contact with, manipulates, pushes, shoves, breaks, touches, lifts, falls under the category of the, you know, on-set physical effects crew, which is my team. It is completely a part of what you're doing, the whole rigging aspect. So it's an intricate and thought-out process. You just can't be random with what you do because later on, you can't animate to it.
Here we go. Ready and door! And
Movement is important. How the actor moves in relationship to the way the Hulk is going to move when the animators get a hold of it. You have to see a little piece of the Hulk in the real guy and a little bit of the real guy in the animated Hulk. So there's a real fine coordination between the CG folks, the stunt department, and special effects.
You'll see a banner house out back where a person is thrown out through a window on a couch.
3, 2, 1!
One of Charlie's guys has to be on the couch, on cue, fall off the couch and hang up on a rail. As the couch ends up down into the street, the Hulk walks out, bashes through the front of the house, with Charlie's guys still on the rail, not hurting him.
9 cameras, amazing looking, huge explosion. The thing looked totally incredible. A lot of the movies, me getting beaten up physically by the Hulk or by the fights that Eric and I have or being thrown around.
3, 2, 1, go!
And the good thing about the scenes with Josh was it was the only person that I got to do some really heavy physical stuff with. So it was always a relief when he would come onto the set, even though he'd beat the crap out of me every time. And it's my aim in life to do a boxing film with Josh Lucas and to try and get some revenge, slam him up against the wall. But it was fun.
Crafting a feature film with a main character who is generated from pure imagination. It takes not only a savvy filmmaker, but a true visionary. And the man that fills that bill is director Ang Lee.
And you stay there. I will kill the second beat, which is the top. That's when Hulk stand up.
The great thing about working with Ang is that every film is new. He has not made one film in the same genre, the same style. He just wants to continue to push his own envelope.
This is a big moment. Yeah. This is like the big chance, yeah.
I think most people are wondering why would Ang Lee want to do a project like this, but just in one sentence, when he says, I'm interested in the struggle between Bruce Banner and the Hulk, you all of a sudden you start to get where he was coming from.
And action! Ang's ways can be sometimes mysterious, and he loves to push the actors to absolute limits. 3, 2, 1,
It's so remarkable, I think, the way he looks at the world, you know. It's really lyrical sensibility.
He's very special, there's no other word for it, and that's why so many people are interested in this film. It's because they're expecting something that they can't quite envisage themselves.
Ang had to become the Hulk for all of us. And on the set, he was able to emote and communicate to the actors who the Hulk was and what he was doing.
I finished shooting months ago, but Ang and the crew at ILM are still hard at work choreographing the Hulk's every move for the computer.
Motion capture is a way of recording an actor's performance, a lot like a film camera, except in this case, we can record a performance that's going to go onto a digital character, like the Hulk. One of the great aspects of motion capture is we can, work with the talents of a director and actors and get exactly the performance that Ang wants to see on the Hulk.
Each dot of this corresponding to a certain spot of the Hulk.
Right.
So you get a good blueprint of the realism, how he moves. Of course, I don't have the Hulk's physics.
Right.
That's why they put this here, so I cannot close my arms.
Gotcha.
So I would naturally like this. And I have to do something broader, and I have to slow it down.
Those markers never move throughout the process?
Yeah, and that's part of the, the magic is taking these dots, which represent Ang's proportions,
right.
but use them to drive the Hulk, who's shaped differently. And that ends up looking something like this. So this is a kind of rough version of that data mapped on to the Hulk. So this is kind of what he'll look like, very close to a final shot.
aquí tus trailers. Visita mi canal.
The reason I'm doing it is so I don't have to direct another actor or stuntman. I know exactly how this should be done. It's all in my head, and it's very hard to translate to somebody else. So it's the quickest by the time frame we had. I have to jump into the suit. You should try that. It's really therapeutic,
Yeah,
very
sure
satisfying
to
see what you do translate to what that guy do.
And action.
Nicely done. Ang was very concerned with Hulk's emotional state, and there's a lot of performances that aren't typical, monster movie performance kind of stuff, but where Hulk is looking deeply into Betty's eyes or having a very subtle change of emotion or mood. And Ang often shot those performances on video that were used to animate the facial performances, but it turned out that the motion capture was a good way to capture the essence of those subtle interactions.
When the show first arrived at ILM, Ang came here in October and he's been here ever since. That's never happened in my experience, where the director of a live-action film has invested so much time in making sure that this character is exactly what he wants.
He does know what he likes. He knows what doesn't work. He's very meticulous, but we have a whole team here very willing to make his vision come to life.
And action. 1, 2, 3.
Attending every aspect of it down to the very last detail is the only way I know how to make movies. It's important for me to keep the same aura, the same way of making movies. I think that's important in filmmaking.
In the main theater at Industrial Light and Magic, he stood up and addressed the crowd, and he said, I see film as a work of art, and I not only see each shot in the movie as a work of art, I see each frame of film in each shot as a work of art. So we all kind of gulped and went, well, he's setting a very, very high standard, and that's what he expects from us.
And action.
In the world of computer-generated imagery, virtually anything is possible. Pigs can fly. Hell can freeze over. And time waits for any man who's got enough drive space and imagination to say so. Here at ILM, the creative team behind the Hulk is hard at work, creating the gigantic green behemoth, one pixel at a time.
We've got a great animation team that is right at the forefront of doing the most difficult work that's been done working on the show. It's just amazing seeing the stuff, come together, what they can do with a mouse and a keyboard, to give life to these pixels.
One of the reasons Ang was willing to do the film was his confidence with the digital artists at ILM under Dennis Muren's supervision that the Hulk would be able to stand toe-to-toe with Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly and Nick Nolte.
I think it's time to bring the sophistication in public entertainment in the computer world, so you can invest your emotion into it, not just watching a creature go crazy.
How do you guys here at ILM go about developing a performance, developing a character? How do you pull that off?
It's years of experience in doing this, and this is the biggest thing we ever did. And it starts with the director, like Ang, having an idea what the character should be. And it's words and it's artwork, and we sort of get drawings of it and sculptures of it. Then it goes into the computer with a lot of really talented artists doing it, like 300 or 400 people working on it.
We all have our little notions about, what humans do, and we have very sharp perception on how human skin should look and what humans do. So if you make the slightest margin, you make the slightest error, usually you can tell.
Just the technical challenges of making a realistic digital creature that
The only way he exists in the entire movie is by us generating him. And the levels of detail that need to go into skin and hair and all that is pretty astounding.
We were given maquettes upon which to base our models, and there are 3 different Hulk creatures in the film. The trick was that he had to transform from a real live actor, from Eric Bana, into these various Hulk sizes, so all of the Hulks had to be built with those parameters in mind.
From that maquette, they build a CG model, which has every single element in that model, how it actually moves.
Taking on this task, we knew that we had to get realistic poses out of the creature, and then on top of that, realistic muscle animation, and then we'd wrap the whole creature up with a dynamic skin that would slide over the surface of these muscles and break up the form of the creature and the actual texture of the creature.
We want to make sure that the audience believes that there's a living, breathing being. And when he grows, he doesn't just look like some Macy's parade balloon just goes, right. You know, like it has to grow. What grows first? Well, the bone grows first, from the inside out. And so what you see here is a really good example of that. Is what we call the concept sequence. We in the art department have taken that and drew additional details on top of it. You'll see that if I stop on any one of these, it says skin stretches, clavicle grows. We're pouring over every single little detail on the Hulk's body as if it was a real person that we have to make whole cloth from scratch.
They create a wireframe model that then is handed off to the animation department.
I think we use every single technique ever discovered in animation. It's really getting to the essence of the performance. Motion capture might be a way of getting there, but really what it is sitting down with Aang and saying, what are you going for here? We would show video of ourselves to Aang. We'd say, what do you think? Could Hulk act like this? Could he run like this? Anytime things were overly clean, he would say, no, that looks like animation. And so really the goal here is to not make it look like animation, to go for all those imperfections that come out of real life.
My name's Sean Kelly. I'm going to kind of give you a demonstration of how we do animation here at ILM. And we start out in something like this, where someone called a modeler has sculpted the Hulk in the computer, sort of out of digital clay. And then another guy called a chainer puts in a skeleton that I can actually manipulate and move. So coming in here, we can grab any of these little controllers, and I can, have his head turn around or grab his hand and move it up over here, and maybe grab his elbow and pull it down over here. And in doing all of that, we can create a pose at a particular moment in time. We are basically creating 24 pictures per second of his performance and his acting performance and how does he move.
I thought what I did was difficult at times. It's a piece of cake compared to this.
Oh boy, I don't know about that.
It's amazing.
Well, once Aang is bought off on that, which is called blocking, then we end up in a program like this over here, which is Carry. Carry's a proprietary software developed by ILM that lets us do facial performances. We work in Carry the same way that we would work in the low-resolution program, where we can just save different facial positions at different points in time, and we'll use a mirror and see what our face does, or we'll see what Aang's face does, or film each other's eyes and see how our eyes move when we're feeling different ways, and we try to put as much of that in as we can, try to bring them to life. This is how it looks when I'm working on the facial stuff. It doesn't have the skin or the texturing that's going to make him look realistic later. It's just...
But the movement's there.
But the movement's there, exactly, and it's there enough to where it's still three-dimensional and Aang can judge the performance.
Generally, the animation is done several days or weeks in advance of when it actually comes to us, and then it's our job to integrate that into the scene. So it's a matter of lighting it, shading it, putting skin texture on him.
I'm one of 3 computer graphics supervisors on the show who are basically in charge of making sure the whole computer graphics pipeline works together, and also overseeing the work of the technical directors who mostly deal with the lighting and compositing and rendering of the Hulk.
So this is a shot BH6 that we will use just to show the various stages that we go through to actually build up this character in terms of not only the layers of skin, but also the transitions that we've gone through in trying to figure out the look of this guy. We then take it into the technical director's hands, who go in and actually light it and set the lighting up according to the scene. And the scene in this particular case is a room warmly lit from the right-hand side, so we're sort of playing up that. And this is the final shot.
I'm interested in telling a story and actors. I mean, I care about the actors, and they're reacting to the work that I do, and my work is to react to the work that they do, and it's very close, and to me personally, to do this.
Do we see enough of the grease when his head banged on the canopy?
We're playing up the fact that the wind's hitting him at 400 miles an hour, so he's sort of squinting.
And that's final. It's good.
Good.
Huge amount of effort, of course, went into making this thing look absolutely real, so you don't even think about it as an audience member. All you're thinking about is the character. The technology should be invisible. Only when it's over do you say, wow, how'd they even do that?
I'm passing flight level 600. This is out of my envelope.
Hang in there, legend.
I can't maintain. He's all over my aerodynamics.
He'll lose consciousness before you. After wreaking havoc for almost 40 years, the Hulk has become a worldwide phenomenon. He has a stranglehold not only on his enemies, but on the world at large.
I'm Bruno Tapia, and I run the Hulk website, the HulkMovie.com website. I'm a big Hulk fan. One of my earliest memories is my mom coming home with these comics. I'd never seen a comic before, and she had like Spider-Man, Superman, and the Hulk. And for whatever reason, I wanted the Hulk. The reason I like the Hulk isn't like your normal superhero. It's more like a horror story. It's more like good tragedy. This is a character that actually has substance to it. He has a backstory. I have every Hulk comic like since 1985. This is the Hulk #1. This cost me $4 grand. Here's a Hulk cartoon video I have. This is the new Hulk DVD. These are puzzles. Something I like to do is like these model kits that you can see. This is Hulk reading. He's reading Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which I think is very poignant. I have this poster here from 1966. In addition with everything else, one of the most anticipated things is this new Hulk video game.
The Hulk is the ideal video game character. He gives the player abilities that have never been given to players before in video games.
He's bigger, he's stronger, he has great, huge, dynamic, powerful moves. The game is actually an extension of the film. The story in the game picks up right where the story ends in the film.
We're able to kind of sink in and tap into that kind of feel and happenings that occurred as sort of a history to our game that you saw in the movie. But now you get to play the same main characters in a different adventure.
Hey, camera mark.
Be camera mark.
Several of our levels in our game are based on the movie set, and they look a lot like the environments you experience inside the movie.
Basically, we were running together along through the whole entire process.
Okay.
All the design things that we were doing along, we were sharing with them.
They sent us a lot of images up where we tried to create the same sort of look, same sort of a design style in the materials that they used in their movie. So the tricky thing is getting what I saw onto our game so that the person that's playing the game sort of relates our character with the Hulk movie character.
To really push the bar on the game people's side to make a character walk and move and do the things that our digital character does in the film. That was quite a challenge technologically, I'm sure, for them also, just as it was for us in the movie.
One of the things we're really trying to preserve is the performance of Eric Bana. We actually recorded him for the role of Bruce Banner in the game.
My career, Betty, my entire life, infected by this disease. I'm going after the cure.
He gave us facial reference for the scenes, and then that was taken by our animators and retrofitted into the actual scene. So the acting you see in the game is actually acting by Eric Bana.
So much loss, so much greed, all in the pursuit of power. gamma power.
That was very exciting, actually. Just seeing the character, the model that we created with the voice of the actual actor from the movie was very exciting. And it helped bring that all together.
Oh, jump. I ran a little smoother than this guy.
My brother came along, he got to play the game, he enjoyed running around as himself.
Thanks for looking after me, mate. Most people would have said nothing. It's certainly something I'll never forget.
I think in the comic book, nobody really cared about Bruce Banner. He's a loser, he's a wimp. But as a movie, I need somebody who has the Bruce Banner manner and the look, but in the same time, potentially he has to have that Hulk in him.
Eric has that kind of power and that bottled up rage that was so essential to the Bruce Banner that we were creating for the movie.
You know what scares me the most? When it comes over me and I totally lose control. I like it.
There's something about his performance that just engages you. You want to watch him. You can't stop watching him. He's excellent.
You found me.
You weren't that hard to find.
Yes, I was.
When most comic book characters are created, there is usually some scientific catastrophe to blame, most of the time resulting in fabulous superpowers, like night vision, spider sense, or taking the form of a bucket of ice. However, when comic book legends Stan Lee and Jack Kirby envisioned the Hulk, they had something a little different in mind.
You draw on 40 years of Hulk when you begin a project like this film.
And we have been very conscious of keeping true to what it is that makes Hulk great.
To me, there are some of the best American art that has to offer to the world.
Well, Marvel Comics started 1939. It was called Timely Comics. And there was a young lad, 16-year-old kid, who came to work. His name was Stan Lee. We actually started as a gopher, started like everybody does, and the rest is history.
After having done our first of the Marvel line of books called the Fantastic Four, I was looking for something else that would be totally different. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to get a monster and make him the good guy? So I combined Jekyll and Hyde with Frankenstein, and I got myself the monster I wanted, who was really good, but nobody knew it. And he could change from a normal man into the monster. And lo, a legend was born.
What's happening to me?
The great thing about the appearance of the Hulk was that here was a superhero who really wasn't a superhero, and the Hulk was the first of these kinds of very morally and emotionally complex figures that began to populate the Marvel Universe in wonderful ways.
He's a tormented soul because he doesn't want to turn into a monster, and yet, deep in the recesses of his mind, he enjoys the feeling of power, the feeling that he can accomplish anything when he is the Hulk.
It's not about the Hulk getting up in the morning and saying, how do I save the world? It's still about the guy. It's about Bruce Banner, about all of us.
The character of the Hulk is just incredibly deep and textured and layered, and there's just a lot there.
I always felt if I were a superhero, the first thing I'd do wouldn't be run out and buy a costume. So I thought I'll just give him a different color skin. My first choice was gray, but the printer was having trouble keeping the color consistent. So I decided I'll change his color. I mean, I figured green. Nobody was green that I knew of. So I said, okay, let's color him green. It was as casual as that.
Dr. Bruce Banner, belted by gamma rays, turns into the Hulk. Ain't he on glamour rays?
The very old Hulk show was sort of cheesy animation. And it was the early days. It looked a little bit like crayons. And then, out of nowhere, Universal put out the Hulk show.
I was a fanatical fan of the television show with Bill Bixby and
Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, child of the 70s, it was sort of a huge thing.
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I think there was something profoundly exciting about the fact that you knew that every week you'd get angry and you wouldn't like it when he was angry.
Without the advances in technology, we couldn't have made the movie the way it will be.
Mayday! Mayday!
Avi has been so terrific at getting people who have the same vision for these characters as we do.
For Aang and for myself, where we went for inspiration was all the way back to the very, very earliest renderings of Hulk and his story.
The tradition, the heritage from the comic book, like he has to be a certain size, he has to jump very high and powerful and do this, do the Hulk smash and all that, and I try to preserve that as much as I can.
We're aware that we are the caretakers of a character that will outlive all of us.
There's really no reason why these characters shouldn't translate well to the screen, because they're nothing but spectacular, exciting scenes of wonderment.
Hundreds of people, big locations. It's a big movie, and it took a lot of organization, and it took a lot of meetings. Massive.
Trailers. Visita mi canal.
I think it's going to be one of those movies that you watch and you're completely blown away, and you're going to have to come back to it again.
I never imagined this character would be the subject of a major motion picture. I wouldn't have imagined that in a million years.
You get heart, you get fun, you get tears, you get some message, and above all, kick-ass entertainment.
It's about human nature, it's about what drives us, what are we repressing, what's inside of us that we're afraid of. And this is a movie that's able to do that and yet tell a really entertaining story.
I feel like after hundreds of issues, this is another issue, sort of a comic book.